Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frenzy Extra. I'm Andy Lacombe. We're coming to you this week from Westboro High School, the site of our Charter TV3 Game of the Week. Westboro hosting Shrewsbury. You can call this a little bit of a rivalry in the area. The Shrewsbury Colonials have played a really tough schedule so far. They don't think their record is deserving of how good a team they could be, so they're looking for big things this week against the Rangers.
Our record really doesn't reflect how we've been playing. Our record doesn't show like what this team is capable of. We knew coming into the season that we had a record of, a schedule of tough opponents, but we've been working hard in practice, and we want to make our record the best it can be by the end of the year.
I don't think the record shows who we really are, because we are hard competitors. We come in every game trying to win. We don't go into a game expecting to lose. Midwatch A this year is crazy because every team is good. Every team has a chance, so you never know what's going to happen each game. So you have to make sure you come out 100%. St. John's, Fitchburg, all of Neshoba, they're all good teams, so we have to make sure we learn from our losses and come back, play even harder. Biggest thing we learn is little mistakes can kill you. Little mistakes add up, they really do. Execution's key, so that stuff you have to look at, film, and come back and play even harder.
We just got to play our game and not make mistakes, and we just got to stop their run right up the middle. And I think if we do that and we score and keep doing what we can, we'll be all set.
They have good running backs, they have good linebackers, they're a good team overall. So every opponent is hard for us. We have to practice hard, do our thing, and make sure we get the win.
We don't have any games that we can not overlook, but be like, oh, this will be an easier game, because every team this year or around us is always good, and you never know what the outcome's going to be.
Just stay focused all week. With the week of practice before the game really reflects on how you're going to play.
It is our Charter TV3 Game of the Week. Shrewsbury and Westboro homecoming for the Rangers. You see it on Charter TV3 beginning at 7 o'clock. Just down the road a ways in Upton, Nipmuc and Blackstone Valley Tech are Thanksgiving Day football rivals. The two schools are right across the street. And this past weekend, for the first time ever, the two teams hosted home football games at the same time within eyesight of each other. It may be the first time something like this has happened in Central Massachusetts high school football.
Game day at Nipmuc.
This new field is amazing. I'm very sad my son never got to play on it, but I'm so happy because this is what this town needs.
Fans pack the stadium on a gorgeous fall day to cheer on the Warriors against Northbridge. And across the street, their rival Blackstone Valley Tech hosts Quabog in their homecoming game.
I'm definitely hoping for a win for BVT, yeah.
It's a fun football day, and the weather's nice.
It's a unique setup for the rivals this year, with the Warriors playing on a new field across the street. A field the Booster Club rushed to get ready for the season, highlighted by one member traveling south to get the stadium scoreboard.
He actually flew to Georgia, threw it on the back of a U-Haul truck, and got it here in time for us to be able to have it.
Nipmuc Athletic Director Chris Schmidt is also new to the school, and it's developing rivalry with the Beavers.
It's a rivalry I think that's growing. We're continuing to play each other in more sports. So I think, maybe 10 years ago, I don't think it was as strong as it is now.
A rivalry that goes beyond sports.
Our homecoming bonfires are on the same night, so it's kind of who has the bigger bonfire becomes kind of the thing.
And runs between friends and families.
You had two that went to Nipmuc and now one that goes
to BVT. Yeah, to the enemy, according to them.
This season, the enemy is right across the street. As the two teams played Saturday, that street that divides them was a good spot to catch all of the action.
Daughter went to school and graduated there last year. I know a couple kids on that team, but I'm here to watch Northbridge. That's where I went to high school and played for Coach LaChapelle. So that's why I'm out here today.
If you're up on the street, you got the best of both worlds. When someone's got a timeout here, you can watch over there and vice versa.
Fans from both sides watching both games, including the Beavers coach.
It's a great atmosphere now that they're playing over there. I'm actually a Northbridge alum, so I'm going to walk over and watch a little bit of the game across the street.
Saturday was the first time the two rivals played a football game at the same time, just one street apart. And on Thanksgiving, they'll be on the same field for their annual rivalry game.
It makes Thanksgiving very easy, because you're either there or you're here. It's one or the other. So this year we're there. next year we'll be here.
It's been a great rivalry ever since I've been here. You know, them walking across the street and playing on Thanksgiving, and now that they play right there, it's even, it's even better.
Going in for a touchdown.
A big game that has had its big moments over the years. This past weekend's crowd is nothing compared to how many people will be in the stands on Thanksgiving.
There's a big teacher staff that go to every single football game, home or away, so
there's always a good turnout at the Thanksgiving game too.
Yeah.
It's been a rivalry since the schools were been here, and it's just we put so much effort into the season to beat them.
A rivalry
Nipmuc, BVT.
Formed on opposite sides of the street. For Frenzy Extra, I'm Andy Madison.
This week on the Friday Night Football Frenzy, some big ones for you. Shepherd Hill tries to put 2 wins together as they take on a resurgent Fitchburg team. St. John's and Wachusett renew their rivalry in Division II. That should be a slugfest. Neshoba and Leominster, that is a big one between 2 undefeateds. Doherty and Tantasco go head-to-head in Division IV, and St. Peter Marion and Northbridge is the one the fans in Northbridge have been looking forward to for weeks now. That'll be a showdown of high-flying offenses. Time for a quick break. When we come back, I'll clean myself up. We'll go inside the studio, and Jim Wilson will join us to break down those big games here coming up this week. Welcome back to Frenzy Extra. We're inside the studio now to break down some of those top games we just talked about, and we have Jim Wilson with us from the Telegram-Gazette, the sports editor from Home Team Magazine as well. And Jim, thanks for coming in. A rare chance for us to talk.
I know. It's like I feel like Brick with who is this person?
Seriously, this is a rare chance, but we're well past the halfway point.
I can already see the professionalism.
I tell you about it. This is what we're trying. We're well past the halfway point. And have you figured out the season yet?
No.
Every week I get who's the best team in Central Mass. It was like Leominster, yeah, but who is the best team?
Well,
in
that's the
Central
problem. You're leaving, okay, well, Leominster, then Franks goes down. Now it's like everybody's game. Then St. John's has an early loss. Like, okay, well, now are they the best? And then, Neshoba comes up and they start kicking people around. So we have 4 teams in the top 10 splitting #1 votes.
Right.
So that shows what kind of a year it's been, because it's not, and I like the years like this. It sucks for my picks, but I mean, for the end of the time, it's nice to have Wachusett's going to win this week and Neshoba's going to win that week. You never know, so which is great.
Somebody's potentially has to go, right, with Leominster and Neshoba this week, and that's one of the big ones. We have big matchups across the board.
Huge weekend.
This is a big one.
This one.
And Leominster and Neshoba maybe not overshadow anyone else, but this is a big one. And can Neshoba and their young speed guys hold up with Leominster?
That's what it's going to come down to, because I think Neshoba, especially 28-0 over Marlborough. And Marlborough's a very good team. That was a big if the Shepherd Hill win the week before wasn't a statement win, this one opened up a lot of eyes. I think Neshoba, I say all year, they don't have like that typical playmaker. They don't have like a Shartner or a Toon out there that people are like ripping their hair out trying to figure out how we stop this guy. And I think it makes them more dangerous, because you have Jake Benjamin, converted wide receiver, done a great job in the backfield, changing pace. Mike Curtin leads a monstrous line. They match up well against Leominster, especially without Franks. Because that's a big weapon. Leominster, they had a tight win against Wachusett, came down to a point after that was missed. They blew out Westboro last week. So hopefully that means they're getting back on track in the new age offense without that. And Dave Palazzi is going to find holes.
You give Dave Palazzi a couple of weeks, he can plug a hole, even if it is Derek Franks.
That's what makes it interesting. See what kind of Leominster team shows up. Because I think this is a really tough Neshoba team. They can hang with them. They definitely beat over the lines. Are going to be a good battle. But I think Neshoba has a chance to really get those surpass Leominster in this one.
Saw the middle part of the Marlborough game. It was 7-0 Neshoba, and Marlborough was driving. They were inside the 10-yard line with under a minute to play in the first half, and Neshoba came up with a defensive stop. They went on to shut out Marlborough and kind of pulled away a little bit in the second half. All right. St. Peter Marion and Northbridge.
Huge game.
The guys down at Northbridge, the guys who've been seeing games in Northbridge for 20, 30 years, 40 years.
The Danny Brown era?
They have been talking about this one for a couple of weeks. Northbridge hasn't given up a point yet. Nope. But this has got to be the top team that they've faced so far.
This is their string. They play Tantasco next week. They play Leicester. They play Uxbridge on Thanksgiving. So I think this is the start of their big grind to the schedule. And a lot of people will say, well, Northbridge is a great team, but who have they played? Well, I mean, Auburn, Grafton. I think those are great wins for them, especially for Northbridge. But I mean, this is a big one for both teams. This is like a king of the mountain type of game. St. Peter Marion knows coming out and shutting down Northbridge will put a big feather in their cap.
I had people asking me last week, scratching their heads, how is Leicester ahead of Northbridge in the power rankings?
It's all math.
It's all math. I said, listen, I'm a communications guy.
I know.
I don't do math.
I became a reporter, so I didn't have to do math.
Right,
which
exactly.
is ironic.
Northbridge, their offense, they can spread it out, but it's their defense, and Mike Quinn and Keenan Konama, they have done so much work. They like to shut people out. I think that'll be a tall ask this week against Danny Mom and some of the guys that St. Peter Marion has going for them.
And the win over Tantasco last week for St. Peter Marion was a big one because Danny Mom had a heck of a game. Yeah. I mean, Tommy Hendrickson has been talking about him all season as being a guy that they're happy to pass the torch to at the end of the year. Unfortunately, he had to do it a little sooner than they thought with the injury to Seamus Leary. But, I mean, he had a great game against Tantasco. They beat another previously undefeated team. 6 weeks in a row, undefeated team comes to face St. Peter Marion, so they're ready. So I think they had a good game going into it. But again, I mean, on paper, stopping Northbridge, easier said than done. A lot of teams have thought they had the plan, and next thing you know, it's 35-0 in the JVs are in the third quarter.
We thought we had it sorted out in the top 10 in Central Mass, and then Shepherd Hill wins over Wachusett.
Right.
And at 1-4, they're in the top 10.
Leaving it for dead, and they come back with a huge win.
Yeah, word is they're one of the best teams in the division. They probably won't make the playoffs. I haven't done the math. But they've got Fitchburg this week and another chance to knock off a Division II team, which would look pretty good. But Fitchburg's, they're winning games. Now, granted, they're winning games against teams outside, not winning teams right now.
Right.
But they're a team that can get rolling like they did last season.
That's what matters. I mean, last year was the same way. Last year, it's not like they went out and started beating some gorillas right off the bat. They got those confidence-building wins. They had some changes to their offense and their defense. They moved some people around. They sort of got those wins piling up. Next thing you know, it snowballed. And I think that's what Shepherd Hill was hoping to do when they thought the playoffs would be 8 games and they went in that schedule. Now all of a sudden, no, it's 4 games, and now they're chasing wins, which I'm sure was a great conspiracy theory down in Dudley. But I mean, what it comes down to is the Fitchburg, they have those 2 wins over Shrewsbury and North Middlesex. That was good for their confidence. They can come back. They're looking to do the same thing because they're not completely out of it yet.
There might be some in Dudley that say, why are we playing this schedule? No. But, you go to compete every single week. You want to play the iron. Why not?
They're happy to do it. They're
happy to do it, yeah.
They don't want to go in and get one of those, those pride wins over a 1-7 team and get those power ranking points. They'd rather go in there and, play smash mouth football against St. John's and Leominster and get the loss but become better for it. I mean, that's like when it was 8, if it was 8 teams in this playoffs again, they would probably sneak in as like a 7 or 8 seed and do what Fitchburg did last year. I still think they're probably the best team in Division 4.
Maybe 5 years ago, you'd say Doherty's a surprise right now.
No.
But maybe not anymore.
They're a program.
They're a program
Look at the
now.
D1 players.
Oh.
The Mulcahy machine.
Man.
Just churning them out.
Another challenge for them this week.
Yeah. This is a big one. I think that they're looking for, coming against the Tasco team that lost last week, they're looking to get revenge. It's going to be a good athlete, a bunch of athletes. Howland is just a monster.
He's big.
It'd be just
big boy.
They've been trying to get him on from the basketball team for years. They finally convinced him, and he's showing, it was a great pursuit because we had a shot in the paper last week by Chris Christo with him just over PJ Barry and getting that touchdown catch. I mean, he's just a playmaker. And it'd be tough to see if Doherty has anybody to man up against him.
I saw Fitu Melifonwu go against Howland earlier this year, and it was an outstanding matchup. I can't believe how big Howland is. He's a basketball player, but now he's a power forward or a 5 in hoops.
Exactly, he's a big dude.
He's put some bulk on. And, maybe Aaron Adu and some of those guys, they can elevate. They can get out there and play defense against them. But Steve Bicciali's defense isn't going to give a quarterback a lot of time to throw the ball.
I think they like the challenges. I think Doherty's defensive line might be one of the best in Central Mass just because they're not going to give Choquette any chance to really sort of get settled. He's going to be running, throwing on the run a lot, trying to find, he might have looked for his third read by the time it's all said and done because he's not going to have time. He's looking at everybody's be covered by the time these 250-pound monsters are chasing him down.
There's some teams kind of hanging out on the edge of rolling a little bit. Holy Name's won 3 in a row.
Big game against Algonquin.
And they got a big one. And Algonquin's won a lot of games. Are you waving the flag for the hometown?
Free Dick Walsh. Free Dick
what
Walsh.
Is going on?
Travesty. Don't even get me started. That's a whole that's for Frenzy After Dark.
That is, tune into YouTube to see the rest of that one. But, Algonquin's got it going a little bit, and this should be a pretty good contest to see where both these teams really fit right now.
Another game that I think Algonquin's looking, we talked about Fitchburg getting rolling. Algonquin's doing the same thing. Great win last week. They played 70 kids. They had, make the parents happy over in Northborough, Southborough. They're getting those that everybody's been playing because they had such a comfortable win. But Holy Name with Mensa is just a monster. I mean, we're not talking about him very often, but I think he was Anywhere else, he would be a huge factor. He's just he's tough to stop. He's giving people
I
headaches.
almost forgot St. John's Wachusett this week.
How about that? Oh.
I mean, how can you forget about it?
I know.
These two teams don't like each other.
Nope.
Mike Dobzinski won't wear red probably all year long. None of his staff will. If his son is wearing a red jacket, he probably has to take it off.
Sleeping in the backyard.
And the Pioneers, they're everybody's like bullseye.
Right.
And they're coming in playing good football. Tim Cassidy seems to have it going right now.
We say it every year. This is the one for both sides of the ball. This is one of those games that they go 1-11. This is what they want their one to be. It's one of those things they don't care. They want it to be, people will be limping after this one.
You shocked if Wachusett wins this game?
No.
No.
Just
I mean,
because
there's no surprise in
the
what's
way
going
things
on.
are going,
Right.
and I think Cassie's playing well. St. John's has been rolling ever since that week 2 loss. They're looking good. They're putting the pieces together. They're starting to get a great backfield together. McBrien's doing a very good job. Both sides of the ball. The defense is great. But then in Wachusett, after a couple tough losses, their backs are going to well. They need these. If they get these points from this win, they're back in the playoff picture.
They're right back in it. McCarthy on Wachusett, he's one of the best athletes in the school. He might be one of the best athletes in Central Mass all the way around, 3-sport guy. All right, so all this is happening this week.
Huge weekend.
Are we going to have any other clearer picture next week?
No, because that's what it comes down. Because then it comes down to if this team beats this team in week 7, it's going to be a whole nother. Just shake the balls.
Is this what it's all about though? Is this good or bad?
Well, people can ask me, why don't you do a power rankings like weeks 1 and 4? Because it's tough enough to do in week 5 because it just doesn't matter. You have like teams like Nipmuc, who was like the 3rd seed in Division 5 last week, or 4 rather, and then all of a sudden they get a big loss to Northbridge and they're back down to out of the playoffs.
And you make your picks in the Telegram and Gazette.
I do.
And they get put on bulletin boards across Central Massachusetts.
I pick a team week 1. Yep. I hate them.
Call Jim Wilson.
Oh, it's awful.
They're calling here asking for you.
The points. I don't know why they make me do points. Like, I know somebody's going to score 35. If I pick you to lose by more than 2 touchdowns, I'm thinking getting smoked. It's a pro tip.
All right, so we won't figure anything out this week, perhaps, but we do know we've got 4 or 5 really big-time showdowns. We'll have it all for you. We have Westboro and Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury only has 1 win, but they've played an iron schedule already.
That's right. The Midwatch A.
They've got a chance to maybe pick up some ground here if they can get by Westboro.
Another one of those teams, they're probably out of the playoff picture at this point just because of Midwatch A. We talked about, right there, there's 4 teams, but you're going to have Leominster, Neshoba, Shepherd Hills, and Marlboro. There's going to be good teams in that Division 2 that are going to get knocked out. They deserve to be in there, but they're not one of the 4 best by power rankings. Yeah. So I think playing that schedule for Shrewsbury is tough, but they get better every week. They're starting to put things together. This Westboro win could start something.
It's a fun year when guys like Mulcahy have it going well.
Right.
Griff's got it going well. Rossi's got it
when
going
Griff
well.
Says he has a good team,
Boylston.
It's great.
I mean, you've got a lot of good characters. Things are going well for them right now, but their kids are playing good football, so it's been fun so far.
Exactly. I love games like this. Leicester Uxbridge, another one. Another big game.
Leicester Uxbridge, the Uxbridge team can throw the football all over the football field.
Big test for them.
Yeah.
They had a great win against Southbridge last week. I thought it'd be closer. They ended up skunking them. And Southbridge essentially did a shutout. They scored in the last play of the game. But if they had, that was a good we're for real win that Uxbridge needed. And they needed it because Leicester is just for Malachi Sealy. It's just for Matt. They just have a great bunch of athletes.
Yeah, Griff's got a wagon right now. They're playing pretty well. They'll get tested in a couple weeks with Northbridge.
West Boylston, Maynard.
West Boylston, Maynard. Harold Ogilvy's going to be jacked and pumped.
We're there, Harold. Trust me, I got somebody there for you.
He's going to be there. If Jim's not there or the Telegram's not there, Harold's going to call me and ask why you weren't there.
I'm on the leash on the desk. I'm tweeting out all the scores and everything.
All right, sounds good.
Promoted too much.
Sounds good. Jim Wilson from the Telegram and Gazette and Home Team Magazine. Thanks so much. Good talk.
Anytime. Come back next week.
We'll see you next week on the Frenzy Extra. Yeah. All right. We're back with more after this. In College Corner this week, the Becker Hawks are coming off a big win. Their 3rd win of the season, and they're all-everything utility guy, Jake Holmes, who played football here on this field and down below here at Westboro High School, doing big things for the Becker Hawks as they look for more now coming in the future.
Jake was with us last year, and he was he had an important role last year. He kicked for us, and he long snaps, and he was a little bit of a receiver last year. We moved him to running back in camp. He's really flourished, obviously. We'd like him to be a little bit more healthy. He's having a hard time staying on the field full time, but he's got a great group with him in Matt Ramosco, Brandon Mulling. Both those guys have done an outstanding job along with Jake. But our team is built around guys who do a lot of different things well, and Jake is one of those guys. He kicks off, he kicks extra points and field goals. He long snaps on punt. So he's everywhere all the time, and obviously he's had a large impact, not only offensively, but in everything we've done, special teams, scoring points, and the kicking game. So Jake's an outstanding person, an outstanding player. He's brought some senior leadership to us, and he's made us versatile in the run game and obviously in the kicking game.
Up at Holy Cross, the Holy Cross Football Crusaders are coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss to Brown, a last-minute field goal winning it for the Bears. You saw that game on Charter TV3. Head coach Tom Gilmore, he says there's really no time to sulk around over the loss because it's not going to get any easier. The Crusaders travel to face 10th-ranked Fordham this week.
As it turned out, it's a typical Brown game against Holy Cross. There were a lot of fireworks and very close finish. Unfortunately, we came out on the short end of the stick, it was mostly due to our start. We had a really poor start, and that was unusual this year because we've gotten off to quick starts in our other games. But we kind of dug ourselves a hole. But I was proud of the way the guys battled back, and they kept playing hard through our mistakes, and eventually we were able to regain the lead and take the lead rather, and we pretty much had the lead most of the second half until we gave up the late field goal. They're the defending Patriot League champions, and they kind of picked up right where they left off last year. They have some new players, but they're still a very talented team. They're a veteran group overall with the system. They've been running the system since Coach Moorhead has been there, so they're all comfortable with what they're doing, and they're executing at a very high level. They're a no-huddle operation, a high play volume type team. So it's always one of those games that endurance is a factor, but they're an explosive offense. We have to shut down what they do best. And they're a very capable defense as well, one of the top in the league.
The Assumption College football team is 5-1. The Hounds are rolling right now. They've got a bunch of local guys, but 3 from the same school, St. Peter Marian, just down the street from campus. And a couple of those guys are doing big things this season. We caught up with the former Guardians earlier this year to talk about playing close to home.
We all graduated together, and I went off to do a prep year, and so they were here last year as freshmen, and now they're sophomores. So now it's really helping me a lot because this summer they basically told me everything I have to do to become a better football player, a better student, a better man and stuff, and live on campus. So they've been helping me and guiding me as long as other guys.
It's a really good feeling. I mean, I've known one of them since I was 7, and the other one I went to high school with, and he's actually my roommate and stuff. And we actually played games on this field before, so it's really our home field.
When I was in high school, we all used to come down and watch the games and just look at the program. Wow, there's big guys on the field. Wish you could play with these guys, compete with these guys, and all of a sudden all 3 of us came here, and it's been an honor.
For me and Ray, actually, being freshmen, it was a little harder, but now that we're sophomores, we was able to help Noah, who was the freshman coming in, because we knew the system and stuff, so we could push him, summer workouts, we could stress how important it is to work, how it's not like high school anymore.
It's a little home pride here, and especially going to high school right behind the trees here, so it's good to be home, and it's time to bring one home for Worcester.
To our Dean's List now, and we start with Obi Melanfonu, the former Grafton standout, playing at a high level at UConn, 5 tackles and an interception for UConn in a win over Central Florida. Jake Holmes, we just profiled him a little bit at Becker, the former Westboro guy here, 103 yards and 2 PATs. He kicks, he runs, he does everything for Becker in a win last week. Kyler Berry from Oxford playing at Worcester State, 73 yards receiving against Fitchburg State. Zach Grass is at WPI, the former Prouty standout, moving up the list of all-time rushers at WPI with 168 yards and a touchdown against Union. Pat Ricard, one of Zach Grass's former teammates over at David Prouty, playing at Maine, 2.5 sacks, 4.5 tackles for a loss in Maine's win over Albany. And Kieran Wright, the former Holy Name star, playing at Framingham State, 113 punt return yards, including a 72-yarder for a touchdown against Westfield State. Well, that'll do it for this week for the Frenzy Extra from Westboro High School. We hope to see you back here on the program a week from now, but first we'll see you